So here's a situation that I found myself during my time at university. There are a couple of tests that I walked into, and halfway through I actually realised I didn't know the course material, even though I studied it for hours and hours, and during my study sessions I knew that I had known what I studied. So walking outside of those tests, I felt frustrated, I felt confused, and I had later learned that I'd fallen into a trap, and that trap was called the illusions of competence. So what I'd basically done was tricked my brain into thinking that I knew something that I actually didn't. Jeff Kopicki has done extensive research on this topic, and the research he's done has pointed out a couple of these illusions. The first one is seeing the information in front of you does not mean that you know it. 2, seeing the solution in front of you does not mean that you can come up with the same solution. 3, searching for something on Google gives you the illusion that the information is in your brain. And 4, spending lots of time with material does not mean you know it. Feynman once said, if you can't teach something to a 6-year-old, that means you don't really understand it. And this is the real difference between thinking you understand a topic and actually understanding that topic. So coming out of that test, again, I felt I had cheated myself, and I wanted to make sure that that would never happen again. So I went home, I did some research, and I actually found 3 super powerful techniques that actually changed everything for me. So these techniques helped me learn a lot faster and actually remember what I studied. They were recall, the Feynman technique, and spaced repetition. The first is recall, and this one's actually quite simple. After you've consumed some content, whether you've read it, watched it, or listened to it, just simply look away for 30 seconds and try to recall what you've just consumed. Again, Jeff did a study on recall, and what he found was students who read material and practiced it through recalling what they'd just read learnt far more than the students who moved on to something else or simply reread the text. So this is what I started doing. After reading or watching content that I wanted to learn, I'd look away for 30 seconds and just try to recall the main points. And this honestly helped me immensely. Next we have the Feynman technique, and this one's named after the world famous physicist and teacher Richard Feynman. Now this one was the most powerful for me, and it has 4 main steps. First step, write down the thing you want to understand. Second step, write out the concept using simple language. Third, when you're stuck, go back to the source material and relearn it until you can write an explanation without using the source material. Fourth step, simplify and remove technical language. What you want to do here is simplify it to the point where you could explain this to a kid, and a good way to do that is through metaphors and through analogies. The last one is spaced repetition, and this one's focused on practicing and strengthening your learning through repetitious study sessions. Studies have shown that if we space out our repetitions or we space out our study sessions, we learn far more than what we would do if we just cram it the night before a test. So I started using this. So I'd take the recall method and I'd take Feynman technique and I'd do those together every 3 days. So I would space out my study sessions. This helped me retain a lot more than I would if I just crammed it the night before. This sounds over the top, but it really works, and it made a huge difference during my university career as my grades actually picked up. Alright, so those are the 3 techniques I started using that made a huge difference. But one thing I'd like to add is that life isn't about trying to memorize and understand everything that comes your way. I think it's important to find and focus on the things that you care about, and focus on them, engage in them, and just open your mind to new ideas, because that's the real power of learning. So yeah, this was a quick video. But these techniques were really powerful, and I didn't just jump in and do them all at once. I took one at a time and just tested them out and tried them throughout my university career. So I think it's important to choose something that you resonate the most with and just try that, and then just sort of work them in as you go rather than jumping deep in. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you like these videos in general, consider subscribing. That's me for now, and I'll see you in the next one.